Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me today. Our focus is on an extremely important area of family and child welfare law in Nigeria. That is the process and procedure for adopting a child under the Child Rights Act. Adoption provides a child who cannot be cared for by their biological parents the chance to grow in a stable and loving home. Before we delve in, let me emphasize that while the Child Rights Act of 2003 provides a comprehensive framework, the actual practice in some states might differ slightly due to implementation gaps. However, what we are presenting today is how it ought to be in accordance with the law. The content of this section is based on the legal and procedural standards laid out by the Child Rights Act of 2003 and complemented by the roles of the federal and state ministries of women affairs. Let's now move over to the slides for more interactive session. Okay, by way of introduction, adoption is not simply taking in a child to care for. It is a legally binding process that transfers parental rights from the biological parents to the state to adoptive parents. This session provides a breakdown of what the process involves. We will explore the legal framework, who is eligible to adopt and be adopted, the step-by-step process, required documents, the costs involved, post-adoption responsibilities and challenges encountered, and finally, we will wrap up with a conclusion and referencing. Our aim is to ensure that everyone here, whether a legal practitioner, prospective parent, or policy stakeholder, lives with a full understanding of what adoption entails under the Nigerian law. Okay, a quick look at the legal framework. The Child Rights Act of 2003 serves as the principal legal framework for child adoption in Nigeria. However, before adoption falls under the concurrent legislative list, that means states are empowered to legislate on the subject. This means that although the Child Rights Act is a federal law, each state must domesticate it to apply locally. As of now, not all states have done so. The Federal Ministry of Women Affairs formulates national adoption policy, while implementation is handled by the state ministries of Women Affairs and Social Development. Nigeria is also a signatory to various international conventions, such as the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child and the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the Child, both of which influence our local adoption laws, especially regarding the best interest of the child. Okay, we'll now take a look at the eligibility criteria for prospective adoptive parents. The law sets minimum eligibility standard for those who wish to adopt. These are to ensure that the child's welfare and reduce the risk of abuse. First, an applicant must be at least 25 years old and at least 21 years older than the child. Adoptive parents must be fiscally are mentally sound and capable of supporting the child's emotionally, financially, and socially. Single individuals are not allowed to adopt children of the same sex. This provision is rooted in concerns about potential abuse and also aims to reflect societal norms. For couple, a legal marriage certificate is mandatory. Residency is another crucial factor. At least 12 months of physical presence in Nigeria is required before the adoption application can be filed. This ensures that adoptive parents have a connection to the country and can be monitored during and after the adoption process. And very importantly, let's now take a look at who can be adopted. Okay, not all children are adoptable under the law. The child must be under 18 years of age. The Child Rights Act emphasizes that the child's best interests are paramount. Eligible children include those who have been orphaned, abandoned in hospitals, markets, or other public places, or relinquished by their biological parents due to hardship or inability to care for the child. In some cases, parental rights may have been revoked by a court, for example, in instances of abuse or neglect. So before a child is made available for adoption, a court must have declared that child legally adoptable, often based on findings of social welfare assessment. Okay, we'll now move over to the step-by-step adoption process. Adoption is a methodical and multi-staged process. First, a written application must be addressed to the Director of Child Welfare Services at the relevant state ministry. Once accepted, the prospective parent undergo counseling. This is a crucial stage meant to educate them about their responsibilities and help them prepare emotionally. Next, the ministry assigns a social worker who conducts a home study. This is an investigation into the living conditions, financial capacity, and general suitability of the applicant. Once a child is matched with the applicant, the ministry secures consent from the biological parents or legal guardian if available. If the child is older, their own consent may also be required. Thereafter, an adoption petition is filed at the family court, which holds a hearing. Upon satisfaction, the judge issues an adoption order, making the adoptive parent the legal guardian. The process does not end there. The ministry continues to monitor the home to ensure that the child is being properly cared for and integrated into the family. Okay, very importantly, we'll now take a look at the required documentation. Documentation is a critical part of the process and should be prepared with utmost care. It's very important. Your application letter should formally express intent and be directed to the Director of Child Welfare. Supporting documents like a birth certificate or sworn affidavit establish your age. Couples must provide a valid marriage certificate. Medical fitness certificate ensures you are in good health and fit to care for a child. Then a police clearance confirms you have no criminal background, especially related to abuse or neglect. And also, very importantly, evidence of financial stability is key. The authorities want to ensure the child will be well cared for. Bank statement, pay slip, or tax clearance certificate may be used for the process of establishing your financial stability. And also a photograph and character references from respected individuals help establish credibility and good moral standards. So you have to get references from character individuals, persons of that are respected in the society, so that your application will move on smoothly. Okay, a quick look at the cost involved. Though adoption is not for profit, it involves some administrative costs. Processing fees are relatively low and ranges from 10,000 to 20,000 naira. Medical examination for both parents and the child also attracts cost. If you engage a lawyer, their professional fees will depend on the complexity of the case and their individual rates. There are other minor expenses such as photocopying, transportation, obtaining court-certified true copies of documents. So it is wise to budget generously to accommodate any unforeseen costs, but do note that official fees should always be receipted to avoid falling victim to fraud. Then for post-adoption responsibilities, adoption doesn't conclude at the issuance of the court order. The ministry conducts post-adoption checks to ensure that the child is adjusting well into his or her new home. Social workers may pay unannounced visits and request periodic report, especially in the first 2 to 3 years after the adoption process must have been completed. Your duty as a parent includes providing not just shelter and food, but love, education, health care, and emotional support to the child. The goal is the full integration of the child into the adoptive home so they can thrive. Okay, a quick look at the challenges in the adoption process. Despite legal provisions, the adoption process in Nigeria is not without challenges. Bureaucratic red tape can cause unnecessary delays. Some applicants have waited months, even years for approval. So it's very important you follow up your application. And also, societal and cultural beliefs sometimes stigmatize adoption, viewing it as inferior to biological parenthood. Okay, also a lack of public awareness and understanding of the legal procedure has led to the rise of illegal adoption, often facilitated through unscrupulous agents or baby factories. So it's not advisable for you to go through this means. You have to follow the due process of the law so that you get a substantive order that will now grant you the right to take care of the child, because the interest of the child is very important. The child is not being sold. The child has been granted to you in order to be taken care of. So you have to follow the due process and make sure that the child receives the best. So you have to strictly adhere to the legal procedure so that everything will go smoothly. Okay, in summary, adoption is a commendable act that must be undertaken responsibly and lawfully. The Child Rights Act provides a solid legal foundation for ensuring that adoption serves the best interest of the child. The best interest of the child is what the Child Rights Act is out to ensure. So you have to make sure that the process that you take in order for you to get a child to be adopted is through the Child Rights Act, so that you do the right thing. Adopting a child is the right thing, but following the right process complements it, making it a commendable act. So you have to engage actively with the relevant government agencies, stay informed, be patient, and always prioritize the welfare of the child. With the legal and emotional approach, adoption can be a life-changing experience for both the parents and, most importantly, the child. So once you have succeeded in the process, please make sure that the interest of the child is prioritized and taken care of, because you have been given the responsibility in order to take care of a life. And I believe since you have decided to go through this process to take care of the child, you will have to do your best in order to ensure the welfare of the child is paramount. Okay, for further details, please consult the listed references. Laws and procedures may be updated. So always verify current requirements from official sources. I recommend you visiting the website of the Federal and State Ministries of Women Affairs, and also reading the Child Rights Act of 2003. And very importantly, also you can consult experienced family law practitioner when necessary. But very importantly, you have to take a look at the Child Rights Act so that you know exactly what you are venturing into. Thank you for your time and attention. I hope this session has given you an idea of what it takes in order to succeed in your application for adoption in Nigeria. Okay, for personalized consultations, further guidance, and additional resources on the process, on procedure for adopting a child under the Child Rights Act in Nigeria, you can also visit our website to access detailed guides, case studies, and expert insights designed to keep you informed of the latest regulatory updates and best practices. You can also partner with us to leverage our deep industry knowledge and take the next step towards the process and the procedure of adoption of a child under the Child Rights Act in Nigeria. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to download this presentation for your future reference, and you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel for more valuable content such as these. Thank you.